Hello, YouTubers. I'm sitting here in front of a bench full of stuff. And you might be asking yourself, well, I just wonder what all that stuff is for. Well, I'm kind of thinking if you put this on here like that, and use one of these over here and put this up here, something might happen, but I'm not real sure. So let me think about this for a while. I'll tell you what, while I'm pondering, you guys go over there and hit that subscribe button and take the thumbs down button and throw it out in your neighbor's goldfish pond and see if it'll turn them goldfish into trout so that you could fish for trout while you're waiting on me to make up my pondering mind. Well, I think I figured it out. In today's video, we're going to make an air vise. Not everybody has an air vise, but if you're doing a lot of molds, an air vise is a big help. So, without further ado, let's get after it. You know, I'm sitting here thinking about this, and a really great guy comes to mind. His name is Adam over at SDG Custom Lurecraft. Here's his card. You guys need to look him up on YouTube and his Instagram and everything, you know, and go check out his videos. They're really great. This guy is a master at making these lures. Okay, fellow baiters, I think I got it figured out. So, let's get started. And while we're doing this, I'll talk to you just a little bit about some basic principles, common physics that people often don't think about. I've seen a lot of guys on YouTube build their air vise, and they do a beautiful bang up job, and they build it using electrical rails. You go to Home Depot or Menards or wherever it is, Lowe's, and they have these C-channels that are actually designed to be mounted against a wall, and then multiple electrical boxes can be mounted onto it. And they hold a lot of weight. I mean, a ton of weight. These electrical boxes, all the wires, all the breakers, all the relays, you know, everything that's in these boxes is supported on these C-channels, and they do a fantastic job. They use a little T-nut, which is pretty much just like it sounds. It's kind of a rectangle nut, threaded in the center. The center stands a little bit taller than the edges so that it locks into these rails and centers, and they're made to hold vertical weight. They're not made for horizontal weight. So when you make your vise out of that, as your air pushes your clamps together, your back support back here flexes like this. It goes from where they're vertical, it'll go like this. And I've seen a lot of guys make them out of these are called a 2080 teeth channel, okay? And these are really cool because you can lock things in every direction, okay, simply with the same style T-nuts. But the problem with the 20 series, like these happen to be 2060. So you would have a 2020, and then 2040 would be 2 of these T channels, and then 2060 is 3 T channels together, but they have a nice little channel on each side that you can lock into, and it's the same pattern on the bottom. And these are great. The problem with the 20 series is they're not structurally designed for a lot of force. Generally, people are making little CNC routers out of them, something small and light. And they work fantastic for that. They will support more than a standard T-channel like you get at Menards or Lowe's. And actually, Home Depot sells these channels. You have to order it through them. But if all you're doing is small little molds, let's say you just got in your starters and stuff, and you have these little, they call them stone molds, and they're small. You could put those on here and stack them up, and these 20 series channels would be fantastic for that, because you're not going very tall. You're going wide, and you can distribute that force. But if your support brackets don't cover at least 75% of that, again, it's going to flex when you hit your air vise, okay? Because you got to think this is pneumatics, okay? Pneumatics act fast, okay? Hydraulics, using oil, works slow. You can get a lot of pressure out of either one. If you put 40 psi into an air cylinder, you're going to get essentially 80 pounds or more of thrust. It almost doubles it, okay? With hydraulics, put that same 40 psi in a hydraulic, because remember, air will compress, fluids won't, okay? So if you put 40 pounds of hydraulic pressure into a cylinder, you're going to essentially get 5 times the force out of it, okay? Because it won't compress. It moves the cylinder, you know, and you can close up your clamps, but with air, it's going to go slam, and then pressure will build behind it to hold it. With hydraulics, it's just going to slowly squeeze until you're at maximum pressure, and then it's going to hold that maximum pressure, okay? So we use air because to get a hydraulic pump and run hydraulic lines and the oil and the chance of it leaking or getting a hole in a hose or whatever is just too great around bait making. Whereas with air, if you get a leak, you just fix the leak and you're done. You know, it's pretty simple. So that's why we use air. Now, if you're using like this, these are 2060 channels on small molds, that would work great. But once you get into these taller molds like this, now you can see that these clamps don't come near as high on the mold. So number one, you're not going to clamp as far up, okay? This leads to another problem, okay? With your air, if you're putting these tall molds in, you're squeezing like heck right where that cylinder is, but you're not squeezing at all at the top or the bottom of the mold, okay? Now, if you put a plate in there to help distribute some of that force, then you're going to increase your chances of support all the way up that mold, okay? But with the 20 series, and I see this all the time, guys are talking on YouTube and, oh, my molds are flashing, my last molds are flashing, or, oh, the top of my baits all flash. The bottoms are fine, but the top two flash. Okay, what they're doing is they're putting a massive amount of air pressure, 120, 150 psi, whatever their compressor will go to, and the cylinders close in, and these 2060 rails will bow in the center and flex. Well, now you got a lot of pressure towards the bottom of the mold, no pressure at the top of the mold. You're going to start flashing. Or you get way out here because you got 15, 20 molds all stacked together. And now what happens is you're trying to distribute this force over a long span, and the weakest part of this chain is going to give, which is these rails. And so they go from nice and flat like this, and they start bowing in the center, and now your back molds don't have the pressure that you want, and they flash. So a common solution. Okay, on we go. So as I was saying, these rails, these 20 series rails will flex, and then you don't get pressure on the back molds, or you find that the tops of all your molds flash, you know. So we have to go with something a little more substantial. If all you're doing is these small little molds, then a 20 series is the ideal series. So the nice thing about it is I have a CNC milling machine. So when it comes to plates like this, where you have a hole pattern, that's very fast and easy for me to do. There are some parts where you need to drill, and the more accurately you drill, the better off you're going to be. You know, but there's a billion and one options that we can go through, and I'll be right here helping you all the way through the whole process. So if you want a small air vise, 2060 series. If you want a heavy duty, larger, more substantial air vise, we're going to step up to what they call the 4060 series, okay, or the 4080 series. Now, where's these numbers coming from? Okay, it's quite easy. 40 means the metric dimension, millimeters, 40 millimeters across this section of the T-channel, okay, right here, from here to there, that's 40 millimeters, okay. 4060 would be one channel, so you would be 40 millimeters across, 60 millimeters total width of the whole rail, okay. This is a 4080 series, so we are 40 millimeters across each T-channel. We are 80 millimeters between two. Now, can you go more? Oh, you can have 2 T-channels, 3 T-channels, 4 T-channels, 6 T-channels. It doesn't matter. They make it all. These are extruded aluminum, very fast and easy to make. So made out of a solid bar, run through a die that does all this work in it, okay? And so in what I use is the 4080s. Now I use that for 2 reasons, okay? First of all, we're going to use 2 rails, okay? When we use 2 rails, we can space our bracing from outer channel to outer channel, outer channel to inner channel, inner channel to inner channel. You know, it doesn't matter. You got a whole configuration. If I go outer channel to outer channel, my channels are going to be very close together. If I'm running wide molds, I'd go inner channel to inner channel, okay, from here to there, and my bracing, my channels will be further apart, okay, and then I can brace into wider molds. Now, if all you're running is wider molds, you need to plan for that, because a single air cylinder, okay, and I've seen people with dual air cylinders, and that's nice because you can move them anywhere you need. But it's not nice because one might work better than the other, and then your molds are clamped unevenly. Okay, so points to ponder. Okay, whereas if you use this kind of a cylinder, this is a dual piston cylinder. So both pistons work in synchrony. Instead of having two separate single piston cylinders, okay, which would be a piston here, but two separate cylinders you mount on your channels, okay, that's a common way to go because you can move them wider, okay. But the downfall of that is if you have one that has tighter O-rings, it builds better pressure, okay. If you have one that's leaking, has an O-ring that's leaking air, it won't build much pressure at all. So now you're firing one cylinder but not the other, whereas these cylinders that are connected together rely on each other to work. So if one cylinder gets a bad O-ring in it, like this one, both cylinders fail, okay. So it's either going to work or not work. That's the advantage to this type of twin piston cylinder, okay. The disadvantage of this is you're stuck with one width on your rail, okay. You can only put it so far apart on these rails and have these rails, you know, a distance apart. Like in this one, I could go a maximum, that's inner rail to inner rail, and that's the most I could ever do, okay. So for the molds that I'm shooting, that's plenty. Because I mean, the mold that I have that shoots the most will shoot 24 little crappie baits, okay. Most of them shoot 6 or 8 baits. I don't use these really long, wide molds. Now, if you're going to be shooting a lot of these, you know, that new 18-inch worm, you know, to keep up with the Chinese fads and stuff, then you need a wider base on here, and we would have to go with 2 cylinders. But there is a go around on that, so that if one cylinder fails, both fails, okay. You can build a fail safe into that. Now, while we're talking about these cylinders and fail safes and stuff like that, let's talk about air pressure. Realistically, when you're driving down the road and there's a semi next to you pulling a belly dump, okay, which is one of those that has the rock, the gravel and rock in it, and then it has this big gate underneath and it opens up like this and the rock falls out the bottom and then it closes up. That's run by a single air cylinder running on 65 psi. Now 65 psi is holding back 80 tons of rock. It doesn't take a lot of air to work a cylinder, okay. So if you're running your air vise at 120, 140 psi, you know, that's an awful lot of air pressure, okay. And the chances of an O-ring failing, or, you know, especially if you're running any kind of those stone molds, you break a mold or something, is substantially great. Realistically, 50 to 60 psi should be more than enough to hold these vices, these molds shut. Think about this. You take that clamp, and a lot of you have that clamp where you squeeze the handle and it closes up on your molds. When you squeeze that handle, you're getting about 20 psi on that mold. 20 psi. So others of you have the clamps with the handle, and you twist that handle. Now you might be able to get about 30 psi. So if you're getting 30 psi with the hand clamp, why would you ever need more than 50 or 60 psi on an air vise? If you need more than that, something's wrong. Something's out of alignment, something's not working properly, like one of your cylinders, something has gone wrong, and we need to diagnose what's wrong and fix that, okay? So now that the long boring lecture is over, let's have some fun.